Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of This Week in Crypto Philanthropy, where we highlight the top giving news, stories, and the power of crypto for good. Nick Michalewski, Senior Sales Manager here at the Giving Block. Flying solo today, my colleague Pietro is out in the field, but for anybody that saw this week's promo clip, this week we're all about everything that's going on in Myanmar and Thailand and the Emergency Response Fund that we've spun up to support efforts there. So it's a little bit of like, calling all donors, calling all nonprofits. We want to sort of rally the community again and get everybody aware at the relief efforts going on and how you may want to support. And along with that, have a very special guest today. Very excited to welcome one of our nonprofit partners that is actually doing work on the ground. So please give a warm virtual round of applause to Elizabeth Brown, Head of Partnerships from Building Markets. Elizabeth, thanks so much for joining.
Thanks, Nick. Happy to be here.
Yeah, fantastic. So for folks who don't know about Building Markets and what you guys are doing, what can you tell us about Building Markets and the team?
Yeah, so Building Markets, our mission is to strengthen local economies and communities by supporting small businesses with the resources that they need. We specifically work in moments of crisis to help small businesses integrate into humanitarian response efforts because we know that small businesses are most able to be swift and efficient in delivering and procuring aid when it's needed the most. So that is what we are working to do on the ground in Myanmar. But globally, small businesses matter a lot. They employ 70% of people in the world. And so getting them the resources that they need to create jobs in communities is what we're all about.
Yeah, fantastic. And your role as head of partnerships, what are the kinds of things that you're doing sort of day to day for the team?
Yeah, so I have the privilege and pleasure of working with our global colleagues around the world, from Colombia to Myanmar to Turkey and Iraq. We work in diverse markets, but we really focus on working with small business owners from economically vulnerable communities. So I work with our teams to think about impact and strategy. I work with our teams to think about what kinds of partners we can engage to fund our work and in innovative and new ways. And we're also thinking about kind of innovative revenue models. So in this new world of philanthropy and kind of post-USAID, we're very interested in thinking about ways that we'll continue to operate moving forward.
Yeah, and I know that you guys are, I think maybe it's safe to say, on the start of the crypto philanthropy journey, but, are there certain things that, at least attracted you guys to start moving into the space a little bit more? We'd love to hear a little bit of like the origin story of what sort of brought you into kind of the crypto philanthropy space and, working with our team at the Giving Block.
Yeah, definitely. So two things. One, I would say the DNA of Building Markets is data and technology. And so part of our work, our model is to find small businesses, verify them, help them we collect about 100 different data points on small businesses to really understand who they are and what their needs are. And that data is incredibly valuable to the ecosystem. Then we train small businesses through a Booma Academy program on anything from digital literacy to foundations of finance to how do you start to enter procurement and tender opportunities, thinking about export opportunities, and then using technology like AI tools to actually directly make matches between buyers and suppliers. So really understanding what buyers need and connecting small businesses that are ready to enter and be part of resilient supply chains. So that's our model. Data underpins it. It's been a huge part of our work throughout the decades that the organization has been operating. We're interested in using blockchain to showcase our data in a really transparent way that would allow traditional donors to look at Building Markets and know that our impact is irrefutable because they've been able to kind of track the data throughout the life cycle of the organization. So we see, because we collect a lot of data on small businesses, we see tons of possibility in this.
Oh, fantastic. And I know that crypto donors especially love seeing that tangible impact. They know exactly where things are going. They can see it there. That transparency is really impactful for the organization. And of course, crypto donors themselves just get excited on, what fractional amount of cryptocurrency unlocks for
Right.
nonprofits doing a wide variety of work. So I have to imagine that really hits on some of the main themes that you guys focus on.
Yeah, and the second thing I was going to say is, we just really believe in private sector solutions as pathways out of poverty, and so empowering small businesses that are already making up most of the employers in the world and creating most jobs in the world to be able to, you know, offer livelihoods that allow for communities to be self-reliant and thrive is the most sustainable way to do quote aid moving forward, in our opinion. And so a little bit can go a long way. So over the last 10 years that building markets have been working, every dollar that we've invested into this Find Build Connect program has helped a small business yield $8 in revenue. So over the
Wow.
last 20 years, we've helped SMEs, small and medium-sized enterprises, earn contracts that value $1.5 billion, and that has directly created 75,000 jobs in the markets where we work. So there's a lot of evidence behind this model, a lot of promise, and that is very applicable in post-conflict zones and regions when there's going to be a lot of work. Kind of once we get through the humanitarian disaster response, there's also going to be a lot of work in the recovery and rebuilding. And so we want to keep local businesses at the heart of all of that.
Yeah, fantastic. And so I guess coming back to everything that transpired in the past week, what are you guys doing on the ground there? What are some of the immediate needs that and challenges that you guys are trying to tackle on the ground in Myanmar and in Thailand?
Yeah. So for those who haven't been up to date, there was a devastating earthquake that severely impacted Myanmar on Friday, a 7.7 magnitude earthquake that has resulted in, at this time, close to 3,000 deaths, massive amount of displacement, extensive infrastructure damage, and there's just immediate humanitarian needs, which include things like emergency shelters, food, clean water, and medical supplies. And with the infrastructure being down, local businesses from around the country who might have these supplies are just kind of struggling to work together to respond first and get these supplies in. So what Building Markets is doing is working to mobilize and procure supplies that are needed and getting them directly to survivors and first responders. So just strengthening that supply chain, getting that supply chain of supplies moving to where it's needed most. What's hard in these situations is the aftershocks too. So there's been over 200 aftershocks, my colleagues on the ground tell me, that have struck since the initial earthquake, and there's still feeling small tremors. So it's really, really urgent. And the faster that we can get supplies and aid to those affected communities, the greater chance there is survival for the hundreds that are still trapped or injured.
Yeah. And for everybody that's listening, we're going to have a link in the show notes to our Myanmar and Thailand Emergency Response Fund, Building Markets, one of the nonprofits that are on the ground. So people can make those donations, not only to Building Markets, but to the other great organizations that are also doing some critical work as well. So we'll make sure to include that in the show notes. And for everybody, as a quick reminder, I mean, this is sort of a talk around, crypto philanthropy every week, but crypto, stocks, donor advised fund, car donations, any little bit helps, whatever the size. And of course, we'll have a link to the Building Markets page that is on the Emergency Response Fund. And I guess, thinking, I guess, a little bit further downstream, I mean, you talked about some of the ways that, data really underpins this, and how in such times it can be, encouraging to see how monetary support can get to these hard hit areas when traditional infrastructure is down. Are there, like, I guess, thinking long term, are there certain things that you hope to see, from, going deeper into like blockchain and crypto as far as donations? Has your team thought about this yet? Or still just focused on some of the work that you're doing right on the ground?
Yeah, I mean, I think broadly what crypto can do in moments of crisis is get cash quickly to communities that need it the most, right? It's that quick transfer of getting funds into communities, and often, obviously, it's cash is what they need, right, to procure supplies. But even, in the months following this, we have unfortunately, in our own network, we also work in Turkey, and so we were involved in earthquake response just 2 years ago in that space, and we similarly mobilized small businesses in that community following that response. But direct cash transfers were hugely transformative in getting people kind of back on their feet, so that they could, you know, pay what it costs to repair or rebuild their home, so they weren't sleeping on the street anymore, so that they could pay for the damaged equipment in their business, so they could get back to work. So the ability of getting cash where it's needed the most is huge. And I think, long term, there's a lot of opportunity that I see in crypto. The increase in transparency and accountability in charitable giving is a huge opportunity, and is something we would like to explore. So, the immutability of records, I think, is a really interesting part of this, really understanding impact, exploring, smart contracts, especially when you're talking about investing in businesses. So I think there's a lot of possibility, in the long run too, especially as we, start to get into recovery.
Yeah, that's really cool. And we've worked with a lot of organizations that have delved into, especially that smart contract side, which is pretty cool, where, portions of, however those contracts are built in can automatically send, micro donations or proceeds, to support charitable causes around the globe. I know the crypto community has loved, experimenting with those types of setups, and the crypto community just, again, always rallies, during these times. So it's really great that, we had an organization like yourself on the show this week, just to give folks a little bit of a peek at, what's going on the ground, where the urgent support is needed, and how they can send some of that critical support and some of that much needed financial support that can move on much faster rails than some of those traditionally impacted sort of like legacy infrastructure, especially things that just might be down right now. So, we'll, like I said, we'll make a point to point everybody to the relevant show notes. But anything else that you want to make sure that listeners know about building markets and the work you're doing, and even things that are outside of what's going on the ground in Myanmar, but just things that they should know about building markets in general?
Yeah, I would just say that, we feel really excited to be engaging with the crypto community and want to do this in bigger and bigger ways. I think building markets is in a really exciting time of growth. Something else that we have in common with the crypto community is the idea of decentralization. And so building markets is actually actively working to localize our model as an organization. So what we will look like in the future is a network model, where our country programs are local entities, and we are all kind of affiliated through a network agreement, sharing common resources and impact. But really, the reason we're doing that is to embed in our structure as an organization the value of local leadership, and really understanding that local leaders are the best at knowing kind of what their communities need. But what we share in common is the desire to create opportunity for prosperity for everyone. So that's a really exciting shift for us moving forward as an organization that's becoming a network. And we're really excited to see about how that opens up new ways of working with the crypto community.
Fantastic. That is super cool. I love that, and I know the crypto community is really aligned on that. So, yeah, you heard it here from Elizabeth. Check out Building Markets. So the crypto community is global. The support can come global. The projects are global. So that's really, really cool. Like I said, we'll have all those relevant links in the show notes. So I guess to sort of wrap things up, we'll get everything everybody needs to make those donations as easily as possible. And again, if you are a nonprofit that is doing work on the ground, we'd love to connect to make sure that we can add more charities to that response fund and just get even more generosity flowing to where it's needed most. So on behalf of everyone here at the Giving Block and Elizabeth, Thank you so much for joining. It was really great to talk to you, and we wish you and the team at Building Markets great success getting the critical resources that you need, not just for Myanmar, but for all the other projects that you have on your list too. Thanks for joining, everybody.